So yeah, you can. So it tends to be like this. So you can. So the easiest way to remember these is sometimes like this. So the level line is capacity, and you know that demand is going to vary. So sometimes what you're producing will be above capacity, and sometimes it will be below. But you are going to maintain with regard to that. Your options really with that is either that you decide to put this capacity level higher, so you could, if you always wanted to try and meet demand, you could decide to just make too much, but obviously there is a cost associated with that. You could decide to make to stock, like I say, that would be, that particularly for manufactured goods, because you could have part finished, so you could make partly to get them done, and then you could finish them off quickly by adding stuff to them. So again, like cakes and things like that, you could make the cakes, freeze the cakes with regard to that, and then when you get an order for 100, or 150 cupcakes, you think, well, I can only make 15 in a day, but I've got 100 in the freezer, I'll get them out and I'll decorate them. So you could do things like that. You can touch on the screen. Finished goods are easy, I get a big order for Mars bars and I can fill it, with regard to that. Customer's the tricky one, isn't it? Because how do you store a customer or a customer service? So the choice here is to make them wait. So that could be queue, let them queue, yeah? Obviously that will put some customers off. Or you just say, right, it depends, doesn't it, what the service is. So, if you want your hair cut today, and there's no capacity today, then you would essentially say, my next appointment, it's like dentists and all these sort of people, isn't it? Next appointment is 3 weeks' time, like the doctors. We can fit you in, so essentially, and it will depend on what the service is. So level capacity is the first strategy. So the next one is the chase demand strategy.
So this one is where organisations adjust their production or their service to match the consumer demand at that time.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like the main thing I found was the staffing thing is what's key and how to manage the capacity, because if you have the 0-hour contract, you can either cut them early,
yeah,
or make them stay longer, because
yeah,
they've got that flexibility. And then the use of technology as well with the automated systems like booking tables and stuff is another way to manage it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to add anything, the rest of you? No? Okay, so if you look at this as a diagram,
I want to add something. Oh. But my own is saying accept all the cooking.
Look at this as a diagram, it tends to be like this. So your capacity is the orange line, the one you can see here. And what you try and do, the red is the demand, which is what's happening. And then the orange is the capacity, which you keep trying to change to do that. And you're right, it is a lot of what can you do with your staff? So hire, fire, temporary labour or lay them off, overtime, short time, yeah, really quiet today, no one's here. Sometimes you can subcontract out as well, so bring in another organisation maybe to help you do it, third party work. So I think on the next slide I have got, yeah. So overtime, annualised hours, hire and fire, part-time staff, flexible staff on different types of contracts, duties, hours, shifts, use of temps and subcontractors. Problem is, customers will go elsewhere if queues get too long, and fixed resources may not be fully utilised. So again, that empty cafe type scenario. But this is the one where you attempt to match capacity closely to the varying levels of forecast demand. Again, you'll get a little bit of history, you'll have an idea what it's going to be like. Adopted by operations which cannot store their output, such as customer processing operations or manufacturers of perishable goods. Again, can't store all goods with regard to that is slack as well. Sorry, I didn't show you this from the level capacity design. So I think we did pretty much get this. Sometimes you do overbooking. Where do we see overbooking? Who do overbook? Airlines overbook. Yeah, so that's when the call goes over in that, you know, we've only got so many seats on this plane. So stand by, if you stand by, anybody who works, I don't know if anybody's got family or anybody who works for British Airways, but most of that, you know, if you're on a standby, then essentially if the plane is full, then you are the ones that don't go. They do normally incentivise you, they overbook and then they incentivise you. If by saying, well, so recently, somebody I know, the flight to Ireland, they'd overbooked, and they said, right, we'll put you up in a hotel, all your meals will be paid, and we'll give you €250 to not fly on this plane and take the one the next day. No, again, it depends upon your situation, doesn't it? If you've got to be there for work the next, that evening, you're not going to take that. But if you're, on your way home and you think, oh, a night in a hotel, nice meal, fly in the morning, get paid €250. Yeah, and there were 3 people took that up. Yeah, wish you would. So you can do things like that. The reason that the airline overbooks is because people drop out. Yeah, with regard to that. Promoting off-peak demand is also something you can do. And inventory, remember, is stock. So, so you set a uniform level throughout the planning period. You do have resource utilisation goals, expense of customer convenience, although you're optimising your resource, what the business is producing, that might be at the expense of what the customer
It's not only airline overbook, like bus station in Victoria, sometimes they overbooked.
Well, buses is tricky. Oh, you mean like coaches?
Travel?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I think they always think they'll drop out. I mean, the actual bus services is tricky, isn't it? Because that's when the bus doesn't stop at the stop, isn't it? When it's, can't get into the wall on tubes. The tubes is like that as well. So normally when service can't be stored, but there is an expense of keeping idle resources, and can be underutilisation. So I didn't show that when I did level capacity. And the last one is managed demand, isn't it? Demand management strategies, which is you guys.
Yeah, so essentially it is how you oversee and manage the customer needs and customer demands. To make sure you fit what the customers want, and be able to give out that service to the customers.
So how do you do that?
You use improve forecast accuracy, like point of sales, more accurate supply chain, scheduling and operations, as well as organizational ability to be able to manage all the different supply that you have.
Okay, so demand, who is the demand? Who creates the demand? The customer, yeah. So this is all about how do we manage the customer. Yeah? So it's from the sort of things that the business does with regard to that. So when you look at this, here again, look, you see level capacity. So your capacity is level, same like the first one, but in this one you try to manage the demand curve to match your capacity. Yeah? So it attempts to change or influence demand to fit the available capacity. So you are actively trying to change the pattern of demand of the customer, or you develop alternative products and or services with regard to that. So change the customer demand patterns to suit the fixed resource available of the business. Now forecasting will help with some of this.
I agree.
So some people may feel they are not getting equal value. So variable pricing is the key here. Again, if I go back to airlines, if you're prepared to book early, what's the price like? So we're flying to Paris. We're not going until June. What's the price of our ticket at the moment, do you reckon?
Low season from February
Sorry?
You know, the prices go up and down. It depends
why?
on the.
Yeah, why do the prices go up and down?
It depends on when you are traveling. Like so.
Okay, well let's not worry too much. It does a bit, but let's not worry about that too much.
Demand.
Sorry?
Demand. The demand of the
What,
It's still
what
the
price?
same
So
thing.
if I'm okay, let's perhaps we'll go further afield. So if it's it's January, end of January, and I'm flying in November, for example, let's take out the let's take out the summer bit, and I'm prepared to book my flight now. Is that ticket going to be high or low price?
Low,
Why?
because I'm booking ahead.
Yeah.
I'm booking in
So
advance.
why as the airline would I offer you a low price? What am I looking to do? What ultimately do I want to do with that flight going to Paris in November?
You try to bring down to get a good deal.
No,
Oh,
the airline. What is the airline trying to do
I try.
for that flight going to Paris in November? What's the ultimate objective of the airline for that flight going to Paris in November?
To sell on the seats.
Sorry?
Tickets.
Selling their tickets.
Sell out.
Yeah, fill the plane.
Yeah.
Fill the plane. Yeah, that is the overlying, because as soon as that plane leaves, if it's only half full, then you've lost half the capacity of that plane. So it is about how do I get people on that plane. So if you're prepared to book early, you will normally get a low price. They want to make sure that that plane is full. As you get closer, as we got closer to November, the price would go up. That would be because the plane would probably already be half to 3/4 full.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So now, as a customer, if we want to go to Paris, we will probably have to pay because there isn't as much stock, there isn't as much available. So they can utilise that by saying, right, well, you're going to have to, it's going to cost significantly more. The day of the flight, the price will fall again. Because, if you've got 3 seats left on that flight, you will sell them at a low price to make sure that there are 3 people sat. Yeah? So that is one of the ways called yield management, how you make sure that that plane, when it leaves for Paris, is full. Yeah, so you incentivize people early to start filling it up. As you get closer to the date, you can charge more because people want to go. As you get right on the date, you're probably going to have to reduce the price down. Might not, depends. You can offer less at the peak times to try and incentivize people to go at other times. We'll talk a little bit about that. You can offer different services at different times for different purposes. That might work. Advertising and promotion, so that's the happy hour and things like that with regard to that. Or create waiting lists. All of those are demand management strategies. One of the problems with this is some customers may feel they're not getting equal value. So you're sat on your lovely flight to Paris and the person next to you has paid half the ticket price that you've had. And if you look at some of the hotel prices as well, like that, depending on when you book and things, you can be paying significantly different prices. So sometimes that customer...
Or maybe you are part of their club cards.
Sorry?
If you have a club card, like B8 club card.
Yeah, that isn't necessarily linked to capacity necessarily. That's more linked to loyalty. But some of that, here we're sick. This is where sometimes there is a crossover with marketing, but we need to think: is that crossover, that marketing incentive to try and ensure we are utilising the capacity of the organisation? Yeah. So you probably need to look at what it's trying to achieve. Okay. All right, so there are 3 terminology here. So I've just talked about, I'd like you to just get a definition so that you've got the definition. So find me a definition for yield management, find me a definition or an example for queue management, and find me a definition for bottleneck management. What is those 3 things?
3 definition. Okay. Three definition. Where is book? How do I do a copy and paste on this? Management, M-A-N-A-G-E-M-E-N-T, management, strategy, R-A-T-E-G-I-G-I-E-S. Oh my God. That's why I don't like all these things. How do I get it back? It's going again. Just. What is it? U. Number 1. U. E-L-Y. Management.
Okay, how are we doing? You done?
You know I play this film. E-N-M-E-N-T. Comma. Number 2. Yes. What did he say? U. Okay. Question. Oh, you're taking it.
Okay, so yield management, I sort of gave you an insight into that one, didn't I? So again, slack here, a collection of methods that can be used to ensure that an operation, usually one that has a fixed capacity, like an airline or a hotel, maximises its potential to generate profit. Now, so I talked about the dynamic pricing, so like booking forward. So high prices when demand is high, so that would normally be closer to the airline date. Low prices when demand is low, that's normally further away. But equally here, look, it's the percentage of first and business class seats, economy, short notice discount, the standby seats there. How does EasyJet operate? Well, they do dynamic pricing. So it's sort of like, look, yield management determines how much service to make available at various price segments. Yeah? And that is quite a good example as well of how the operations function links into the marketing function. You know, we talk about the third task of the assignment talks about the interrelationships. So again, yeah, how the operations function works with the marketing function. That's a good example there. Again, problem, people might be upset. Like the fact we know it happens, but again, we're going to be a bit irritated, aren't we? And if you do go on and book flights on things like EasyJet, things like that, you can go in, you don't go in today and get a price, and then you could go back in tomorrow or the next day and it will have gone up. Very frequently goes down necessarily, unless you really hang on right until the end. What's queue management?
It's about controlling the flow of people.
Mm-hmm. How can you do that? Who's been to Thorpe Park or Alton Towers or somewhere like that? What happens there? Pardon? Yeah, big queues. What do they have? How might they manage that?
Fast track.
Yeah, what's fast track?
Something you pay extra for where you just skip the queue.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So again, it's a good example of how you might. The other thing that if you are queuing, so if you decide not to do that, how do they manage the queues? How do you queue to start off with? Sorry? Is it a single line?
No, it's like a big big
Yeah.
line.
I mean, part of that is to try and manage it, isn't it? Because if it was a single line, but also if it was a single line and it was like right over there, I'd go, sod that, wouldn't I? I'm not going to stand in that queue. But what they do, so that's like airline, it's like when you're at the airport as well. If you go round like this, now it's still not great because you're not stupid, you can see it's like that, isn't it? But the other thing they do at places like Thorpe Park is give you an indication of your waiting time. Again, then it's your choice, isn't it? I'm going to have to stand in this queue for an hour. Yeah? But I really want to go on this ride, or I don't. You make that choice with regard to that. There's a lot of the fast track now, and it's a good opportunity to charge a lot more. I mean, we see this at water parks and all sorts with regard to that. And there are sort of strategies that you can do for that.
What is this? Project capacity planning.
So there is a lot of mathematical modelling around queuing theory and how to calculate how many operators are needed, but demand is still uncertain. A lot of this we've seen now is the technologies taking over. So again, in the assignment we're asking you to talk about the impact of technology. Yeah, so if you think about McDonald's, so I can have an app on my phone, I can drive into a slot outside and they'll bring it out to me. I can go in and I can stand and try and get served at the till. I can go onto the interactive boards, etc. Can't I? The same at supermarkets. So at supermarkets, again, don't know whether any of you, but now, for me now, I've got the app on my phone. I can click on that, and scan the QR code when I go in. I can go around, scan everything, pack everything as I go around, check out at the end. But equally, I personally have delivery every week, so I don't very often go into to do my big shop. I never do it. But equally, so there's all these self-service tills. Now if you think about a relatively large Tesco's or Supermarket or Sainsbury's or someone like that, they've got the basket self-checkout, they've got the trolley self-checkout, they've got the service ones, they've got the quick scan ones that I'm just talking about. I've already done it all essentially, I'm just paying right at the end. That is all about managing. That's all that is all under the operations heading. Yeah? Because that's how you manage that process. So yes, there's some ideas here in terms of how you think about it. We also some queuing is inevitable, so like the Thorpe Park and places like that, and then you are looking at how you manage that queue and how you service that queue and things with regard to that. And the last one is bottlenecks. What's bottlenecks all about? Bottleneck management. Anybody?
It gets more work requests than,
That's what's
Bottleneck.
gets more work requests than the work process, making process.
Yeah.
Maximum for the
Let me see bottleneck.
So bottleneck suggests that there's a point in the operation that you can't get things through quick enough. Yeah, talk about it. So it is like how do we sort of manage that? It's partly it's about identifying it. So again, particularly manufacturing, some of the quality things we will be asking you to have a look at are about identifying bottlenecks where it might be working through, and sometimes input speed faster than output speed with regard to that. So you do some of the process mapping to identify bottlenecks, so the diagram stuff we did a couple of weeks ago. So what sort of things you can do to manage is ensure that only essential work is passing through the bottleneck, so you streamline your process, take away any non-essential activity, maybe subcontract some of the work, or devote more management time to this area. So again, this one tends to be more in the manufacturing side than the service side. Can be in the service side because you might decide that not everyone, so if you can filter people out, like in a customer queue, so say something like, like a benefits type, like a benefits, what am I trying to say, where people are queuing up for inquiries, things like that. If you can filter them out for different reasons, then that might work too. Okay, all right. So, coming back, so most organisations use a mixture of these approaches. So obviously yield management, queue management and bottleneck management are sort of sub-parts of this. What you're going to be looking for your two chosen businesses is which one of these you think. So you need to have a clear understanding. This will also give you an opportunity to use some of the theory. You'll be able to say, yeah, this is a definition of level capacity. Typically, these are the characteristics of it. I think this is relevant to this organisation because it displays examples of this. Okay, all right. So what I have done today is looked at capacity planning and control. The last thing on my sort of objectives today was to give you an idea about the assignment. There is a video on Blackboard as well, which covers a similar sort of things to what I'm saying here. It's an unpacking video. 2,000 word report, plus or minus 10%. So you can go 10% over is normally the thing, but if it's under, that's fine too. You want to be significantly under. 2 organisations, as I say, one in the manufacturing and one in the service industry. And I think next week you should come and everybody should have chosen their 2 organisations. And then I can sort of say, oh yeah, that's a good idea. The one thing I do say is they do not have to be large. So if you've got some, friend working in a hairdresser's or a dentist or a small tea shop or something like that, coffee shop, restaurants and things. If you know somebody who's working more in the manufacturing industry, I mean, even if it's maybe some sort of engineering company, maybe a bakery which has got more back office, so not like I said, sandwich making, things like that, where there's more going on at the back than there is at the front. So front office is that the customer can see, back office is what's going on behind. So go and I mean, what I don't really want you to do is go, oh, I've chosen Tesco's and Toyota, when you know nothing about the manufacturing operation in Toyota beyond what you can find on their website. So I'd rather small businesses. I think it's sometimes easier to do it with small businesses, because sometimes when you look at a big business, their operation is huge. So it should be.
Is it international or?
Sorry.
Can you find businesses anywhere? People.
Yeah, people you know.
Yeah, but it's not supposed to be only in London.
No, they can be anywhere.
Anywhere in the whole world.
Well, as long as it's a proper operation that you can do this, you can find all the things you need to find.
Okay, how about the references? How do we get them if we are referencing the essay?
Well, yeah, normally, so you can use primary research for the businesses, But you'll have all the operations management theory as references, won't you? So when you're talking about different strategies, you can reference all of that. You can have a look on websites, so your company website, your company, the chosen company website, you can find things on there. You could do comparisons with regards to that. So, task 1, carry out an operations investigation. Therefore, you should analyse the operation methods and processes. What is going on in that operation? You could use the transformation module. I used that in the first week, I think, didn't I? The 4 V's, remember, variety, volume, variation in demand and things. The 5 performance objectives, cost, quality, dependability, code diagram.
Variety, vanity.
Process and layout types, 5 manufacturing, 3 service, that links into the 4 layout types. You know, be prepared to pick one, say why you think it's that, and it might be more than one. And what I've done today, capacity planning, how is it managing capacity? So that is task 1. I don't want anyone in their report to write task 1 and then to think that this is, this is almost like a list of questions.
Like bullet points.
So you should, I don't want bullet points. It needs to be written. And I don't want you're writing a business report. Yeah? So make sure, again, I can have a look at them as you go through. That is task 1 essentially. You should split that down under these different areas to illustrate. For task 2, consider the importance of supply chain management. So actually, I should say, I've done everything for this. So what I've done today will mean that this bit, I've done everything for it. You could write that bit up if you wanted to, or start. Next week, I'm going to start on supply chain management. And so I'm only asking you to pick one organisation for this, so not 2. Just one of your 2. So you should be thinking about what is their supply chain management, and particularly related into sustainability. So what things are they doing with sustainability? We're going to look at some operations management, sustainable operations management techniques next week. This will automatically link us into quality.
Quality.
Quality, because you're constantly trying to improve what you're doing.
Okay, quality.
So quality and the impact of technology. Technology will significantly impact our ability to be able to do supply chain management better.
CRS.
And that will link us into the thing we talked about way back first term, first module of the first year.
Yes.
Corporate social responsibility. Remember
Yeah.
I talked about IKEA and things like that. What are they trying to do? Sustainable supply chain management. And ESG, environmental, social and governance, we looked at under the first module last year. So that will link us in there. That's task 2. And then task 3, consider the interrelationships between the different functions. Yeah, so that's marketing, finance, operations. Maybe consider the functional versus the systematic approaches. Again, that was week 1, and I said about how they impact. Have a look at that. And then find and use examples from your 2 or chosen organisations and say, what are these interrelationships like and why are they important? And then that is all about operational effectiveness and success. None of those functions can operate in isolation, because an impact on marketing strategies will have an impact on operations. So you need to find those interrelationships and explain them and say how ultimately, so again, when I was just talking about filling up, Ryanair and EasyJet filling up their planes as a combination of the operations capacity and the marketing function in terms of how they're working together. So, second years, I think you should have a pretty good idea about this, but use a business report format, title page, content page, introduction, titled headings, conclusion, reference list, appendices if you need them. Yeah? So use clear headings for sections. Do not use task 1, task 2, task 3 headings. Yeah, because task 1 is covering what the operation is, what are the things that the operation needs to think about, like the 4 V's, the performance objectives. Then it goes into process design and the ultimate layout, and then it goes into capacity planning. Those should all be different headings, or some, there should be a few headings in there. When you go into the next task, you know, so then you're going into supply chain management. What is supply chain management? Why is it important? How does that link to quality? And etc. So you should be able to, it's much easier to read a report if it's clearly signposted in sections, which is ultimately what you're going to do when you get out into the real world, because nobody wants to read, you know, big chunks of text. They want you to just break it down and signpost it so it's easy to read. So there should be a mixture of operations management theory, concept, principles, models, and all those sort of things. I've talked about lots of them, which you can reference. There is a balance with 2,000 words because you can't go really, really descriptive about everything. You will not get marks for description, description. But you do need to summarise. So you need to be fairly concise. So you need to illustrate to me you understand what the different concepts are, but not go into reams of detail because that will eat up the words. When in actual fact I want application and analysis. But if you use, like I say, if you look at the process design and you say, I think the main process design in this manufacturing business is batch production, you then go on to say, I think this is the case for these reasons, then that is your analysis, and that is your application and your analysis. Yeah, but you need to make sure you do that. Application to your thing. Right, minimum 10 to 12 references from reputable academic and industry-related sources, which are referenced using the Harvard style. There are loads of books that are written about operations management. They give you some of the theory. Then you're looking for, well, what are airlines doing? Use an airline or whatever. And what sort of things can I find? So, as I say, you can pretty much do task 1 now. Certainly for next week, I will go around and ask what organisations you have chosen and whether those are going to be relevant, and I can help you with regard to that.
So,
so this is the end of week 4. 10-week modules go quite quick.
okay, this is week 4 or week 5?
4.
Okay, so do you want us to start on number 1?
You can, yeah, you can.
So you have 6, of these 6 weeks that left, I mean, are you going to lecture us with all this theory again?
Lecture through to week 8.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so
halfway
week
through.
9 is revision.
Week 9 is handing actually. Week 10 is, week 9. The end of week 9 is handing.
So on this 4-week left, do you have more details?
Lots more detail, yes.
A lot of more
Yep,
details.
like you can do task 1 now.
So with what you have lectured us, we can use it for task 1.
Sorry?
Or with what you have taught us, should we use it for task 1 or should we still hold on and start
No,
off?
you can do task 1. Yeah, everything I've done thus far, you can do task 1. And I strongly suggest you at least start.
I want to ask
and
you
it's
something.
not, remember, it's not always about writing it up. It's about doing the research so that it makes writing it up easy. Because sometimes students talk to me and go, oh, I've written the introduction. And I'm like, well, that is fine. But you can write the introduction at the end. Once you've done all the main bit in the middle, you can write the conclusion at the end. So, students sometimes go, can you read my introduction? And I'm like, well, you're not going to gain much from me reading your introduction until you've done the rest of it. Because you might change your introduction once you've done the main bit. You might decide that actually you need to cut words out, or you need to. The other thing I don't do really, because I don't know, some of my colleagues sometimes do, is say, oh, 200 words for this bit, 300 words for this bit. Because again, I think that is a skill you've got to work out. You can put things in tables, but it can't be lots of text. You can't try and get around the word count by having lots of text in tables. You can use a table if you want to. Again, when I did the performance objectives, the cost, flexibility, reliability, dependability, you can use polar diagrams and things. Yeah. Again, you can use some of the diagrams that I've used. So if you go back, to this sort of thing, these. You can put this in. You can put one of them in. If you look at my slides, I've broken them down as well. So you can say, I think it's this one. And you put the picture in and you say, yes, this sort of, so yes, it's all about trying to manage the demand to the capacity of the organisation. Yeah.
But I think this one have nothing to do with lintel.
With
lintel, what you asked us last time, that we should lintel the other essay we wrote. People's people's management. Should we link this one to LinkedIn?
No.
Okay.
LinkedIn. No.
LinkedIn. Oh,
No, this is nothing. No, this is completely different. Yeah. That was people management, employability skills. This is
Okay.
operations management. This is different. Yeah. But like I say, if you go away from this week, some time on it. You go away this week and have a think about it. Maybe do a little plan. Come and ask me questions.
Or should we send it to your email?
No, I don't know. Just bring it next week. I won't look at individual bits. I'll look at a final draft if you want me to, but I'll only scan it. That's not my job at this level.
Okay.
To micromanage
I want
each
to
bit of
ask
your
you.
assignment, unfortunately. So no, closer to the date, maybe you can email me something, but I'd much rather next week you came and asked me. As I said, if you didn't get as good a mark in your TCA as you wanted, your exam, this is where you get the marks. Try and get them in the report.
I know when we
Okay,
finish.
thanks very much.
We finish on the
See you next
13th of June.
Remember, he wants to talk
Oh yeah,
to
we'll
us.
talk to you guys.
13th of June.
Yeah. 13th of June.
I don't know our timetable.
Okay, thank you
I don't
very
think we'll know our
much.
timetable until probably after Easter.
Right.
Learning from Brad.
Your questionnaire.
Thank you for your.
I think to get people to fill out the questionnaire, you sort of need to give them options. Because people are, when you put like enter your answer, they don't always put anything. Now they might put something in there, they might say, how did you find out? But sometimes it's better, because sometimes they might use more than one, if you give them, so they might have found out. So I would sort of put, like website,
My options.
like a friend being here, and you might let them tick more than one, because it could be more than one, and it could be I started off with a website, then I had a look at social media, and then I chatted to somebody on the facility chat from the course, because ultimately what you want is to give you more data, that you've got more things that you can tell me about.
Yes,
Yeah.
more information.
Yeah. So again, did you try and avoid yes, no? I mean, whenever students start writing questionnaires, they always do yes, no. Yes, no will go like 50% said yeah, 50% said no. It doesn't give you any more real detail.
Okay.
So maybe have a look at which ones. So we do offer open days and we do offer applicant visit days. So the applicant visit day is when you've accepted us as one of your choices. So if you go through UCAS and you do 5, and then you accept us as 1 or 2, then you then get invited to an applicant visit day, which is different. We do
Applicant
different.
visit day.
So maybe you can keep this, I'll give you this. So maybe think a little bit more. Also, when did they visit? When did they come at open day? Because that's something I'm quite interested in, because we ran an open day a week last Saturday. First time we've ever run an open day in January. Now, there were people who came, but obviously for a January open day, that it's like 2 weeks before the year 13s have got to get their UCAS applications in, and most of them have probably already got it in anyway. And it's quite early for the year 12s, because typically year 12s start thinking about it in the summer, at the end of year 12, and into the autumn of year 13.
Yeah, that is.
So that might give you a little bit more of an sorry, I need the rest of it to talk to you. Might give you a little bit more of an insight as to when they are coming.
Okay.
Yeah? So
Wait, so when do you do the open day?